It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one!
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, you're watching Sports This Week. I'm Rupha Ramani, bringing to you the roundup of all news from the world of sports from the week that was. First up, Pakistan cricket finds itself in another dramatic situation. Mohammad Rizwan has been sacked and Shaheen Afridi has been reinstated as captain. But what made the noise was the reason for the same. Rizwan has been reportedly accused of pushing religion into the dressing room. Over in India, there's been a war of words between Mohammad Shami, who's accused the Indian selectors of his non-selection right from the Champions Trophy. What's transpired and what's brought the spotlight on all of the decisions the management has made over the last 1 year. A fan tried to provoke Indian captain Shubman Gill in Adelaide, but his reaction went viral. What separates Indian superstars from their Pakistani counterparts? And chess world was rocked with the death of young 29-year-old Grandmaster Daniel Noriditsky, with fingers being pointed at legendary player Vladimir Kramnik for his death. And Cristiano Ronaldo's absence from Al Nassr's match against FC Goa in India was notable. This, of course, coming hot on the heels of reports that suggest Lionel Messi may skip playing in India's state of Kerala. Our footballing icons ignoring and taking Indian fans for granted. All of that heading your way. One country, 2 years, 5 captains. That in one line sums up the utter chaos that is Pakistan cricket since the 2023 World Cup. But this latest twist, the sacking of Mohammad Rizwan as ODI captain, hits differently. Because this isn't just about bad form or a trophyless run. This is about religion, politics and power, all colliding inside Pakistan's dressing room. Now, when the PCB announced Shaheen Shah Afridi as the new ODI captain, it all looked pretty routine. Another day, another captaincy change. But scratch the surface and you'll find this story goes way beyond cricket. Rizwan had been at the helm for barely a year, just about 20 matches in all. Sure, his numbers weren't impressive. Pakistan lost 11 of those games. But since when has that ever stopped PCB from backing a captain they believe in? Reports claim Rizwan was removed for forcing religious culture inside the dressing room. Something that didn't sit too well with the new management, especially their new coach Mike Hesson. And it was Hesson who's reportedly pushed for Rizwan's exit. Now remember, the two worked together for just one series. It was the 2-1 loss to the West Indies, a reason why Pakistan's cricket fraternity is fuming.
Just because he raised the Palestine flag, you will remove him as captain? This is Mike Hesson's doing. He doesn't like the culture in the dressing room. He wants this culture to end.
But if you think Hesson acted alone, then there's more. Behind this move stands an entire network of influence inside the Pakistan Cricket Board. Former cricketers like Aqib Javed, who now runs the High Performance Centre, ex-captain Sarfaraz Ahmed and of course Misbah-ul-Haq, both serving as advisors to Chairman Mohsin Naqvi, all reportedly weighed in on this decision to remove Rizwan. So the question becomes, was Rizwan sacking really about faith interference? Or was it just another power play dressed up as an act of professionalism? Because let's be honest, this isn't the first time the PCB has thrown a captain under the bus. When things go wrong, someone has to take the fall. And this time, it's Rizwan. He's become the latest scapegoat in a system where accountability is rather optional, but politics is mandatory. If this was purely about cricketing decision, Rizwan wouldn't have lasted those 20 matches. And if this was purely about religion, PCB should have acted months ago. This somewhat feels like a bit of a distraction, a way to shift the blame from the system's failures to one man alone. Because let's face it, Pakistan cricket's problems run far deeper and for far longer. Inconsistent selections, constant interference, a lack of trust between the board and the players. The same cycle keeps repeating and the same people keep escaping blame. Even the new man in charge, Shaheen Afridi, has been down this road before. He was made T20 captain in 2024, sacked after one series. So what's changed now? How does a player who was once called unready for leadership suddenly become the savior?
If Shaheen had to be made captain, he could have first been appointed as vice captain and his performance judged accordingly. especially considering his fitness.
The truth is, Pakistan doesn't need new captains. It needs clarity, consistency, and credibility. Until then, every coach, every chairman, and every new reform will just seem as chaotic as the ones before. At the end of the day, the question remains, is the PCB finally trying to separate faith from function, or just finding new ways to settle old scores? Because from the outside looking in, this isn't a cricketing nation rebuilding itself, or at least attempting to. It's a board at war with its own identity. And in that war, the real casualty is the sport in the country. India crumbled to an embarrassing loss to Australia in the first rain-curtailed ODI. But a lot of the noise around Indian cricket has been coming from the sidelines, from over the boundary ropes, and everything is leading to a question around what exactly is Indian cricket's plan and vision for this side. Why is Harshit Rana being given a long rope? What is their plan regarding the superstars Rohit, Sharma, Virat, Kohli, or even Jasprit Bumrah? And what's the story behind a disgruntled Mohammad Shami? While it's not possible to keep everyone happy and do the right thing by all, every decision that a selection committee and, of course, by that extension, the management takes needs to have one common purpose, a common goal in mind. This has to tie in with, of course, the long-time vision and goal for the national side. In case of the Indian men's cricket team here, that's multifold. The 2 World Cups across 2 formats that's coming up in back-to-back years, of course, is key. And then, of course, the World Test Championship that comes towards the end of this cycle, which is in 2027. And so the attempt has to be to make careful decisions that do not impact the road to these 3 milestone tournaments. Let's now first look at the bowling department here and the curious case of Jasprit Bumrah. Now he's an all-format player. He's key. So it's clearly, it becomes more imperative to review his schedule and availability. Now that this has become a prerogative considering his limitations regarding his physical fitness, the injury concerns. He's being made to sit out of the games against Australia in this ODI series after having just played the Test series against West Indies that recently concluded. So the question is, what's the understanding here? Why this is being done? Is it because of this? A spot in the World Test Championship final is critical because India missed out on the last time. So you'd rather use him now to help seal that and get as many wins under the belt. Which is why he's being made to sit out of a series against Australia, even though Australia is a very critical opposition. Maybe because the World Cup is what he has to eventually play. Now, if that's the case, then who is the management entrusting in being the stand-in leader of the attack in Jasprit Bumrah's absence? Especially when it was Mohammad Shami all along, right up to a very successful Champions Trophy campaign this year, barring out a few injury gaps. Now, the biggest drama unfolding, of course, is it seems to be these 2 different public viewpoints of Shami here and Agarkar, the chief of selectors, regarding this matter. Now, all of those comments by these 2 key players during this saga makes one thing certain, that all is not well between these 2 components, these 2 aspects, these 2 people and players in this drama, at least over the last few weeks. Now, while Agarkar, in his own defense, seems to have dealt with the situation in the best way he possibly could, why is the player in question here, Shami, reflecting something else? Now, R. Ashwin, who's never shied away from speaking his mind and who's recently retired from all formats of international cricket, had a point to make.
I will say one thing openly. Everything in Indian cricket runs on indirect talks. I really wish that it changes. Look at what Shami did. He performed and then talked in the press conference. Why is he talking all of this? Because he does not have clarity.
Clarity, transparency, words that are essential when you're running a national team. Everyone needs to know where they stand, especially if it's someone who, till not so long ago, was your pace spearhead alongside Jasprit Bumrah. And then, of course, there's the biggest elephant in the room, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. What's at play here? Sympathetic last rites or a genuine attempt at seeing if they figure in India's future plans? Because one thing is sure, they want to play for the next 2 years. They want to play the 2027 World Cup. And then, of course, there's the Harshit Rana conundrum, which flows right out from when you look at what's happening with Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah, someone the head coach has been accused of bringing on board only because of bias, resulting in an enraged response from Gautam Gambhir himself. And the fact that Rana has not really set the stage on fire ever since he made his way into the Indian dressing room also doesn't help the cause, his case here in this matter. So there's a lot of unsettling talks and conversations that's already going about regarding these various decisions that's being made. So while India needs to focus definitely on the ODI series that's underway and aim to win the next game to level this series, the larger questions around the national side need to be acknowledged and addressed, at least internally. What's the goal here? How are players being managed? And is there a sense of transparency, at least in place when it's about communicating with the players involved? Can the management do any better? That has to be the question always and repeatedly so, because talent will come and go, personnel in every management will come and go, but a system stays. And an inept one at that can only create more problems than solve them. Now, you'd think the Indian cricket team touring Australia in the middle of a tense ODI series against them would be far away from all the politics that's raging on in the subcontinent, but you'd be sorely mistaken. And it was no less either. The newly minted ODI skipper had a brush with this while in Adelaide ahead of the second match. The incident that occurred, though, brought one thing out in the open: how measured and composed Indian cricketers are at all times, especially when faced with an unexpected fan encounter, something Pakistan cricketers have failed to do. So what really transpired? Let me show you that first. The incident took place somewhere in the city in Adelaide. Whilst taking a stroll through the streets, someone came up to Shubman Gill, shook hands with him and then yelled Pakistan Zindabad even as the Indian captain walked away. This could have taken anyone by surprise. But notice how it was all rather surreptitiously staged by the fan himself here, with an intent to shock and stun the Indian cricketer. But the bigger point to note is how composed Gill was during this entire very brief interaction. He doesn't react. He doesn't so much as even flinch or change his expression. He walks on seemingly unperturbed by this very sudden event. An event that was construed to shock and elicit some sort of a reaction, maybe even a retort or a comment from Gill. Now, why do I say this? Because cricket fans who indulge in such behavior the world over, and I'm not alluding to their nationality at all here, they do it for the drama, to get some sort of a response from the cricketer. Like when Pakistan cricketer Haris Rauf was confronted in USA in 2024. Now, that episode was dramatic because Haris Rauf lost his cool, his demeanor, his bearings. He lost his sense of reasoning and came down to almost exchanging blows with this random fan who had approached him.
who, by the way, probably happened to be Pakistani. That's what certain reports said. But again, that's not the point I'm making here. It's about how you, an international cricketer who's been in the public eye for years now, a cricketer who represents your country, should react to fans the world over. Fans who cheer and support you, yes, but also the ones who do not, the ones who jeer you, who taunt you. Two similar situations that saw two very contrasting responses, one that displayed poise and a rather dignified manner in which to approach this, and one which resulted in a near physical showdown, something that shouldn't have happened. And that's the difference here between cricketers representing two different countries. The way they carry themselves is proof of how well they navigate tense situations and anything untoward. This is exactly what translates onto the field too, onto the playing arena. Haris Rauf was in fact caught in something similar during the Asia Cup that concluded recently. Hearing a section of Indian fans cheering in the stands behind him, he was fielding along the ropes, he decided to retort, and he did so in a gesture that got him reprimanded by the ICC too later on. Everyone knows what those gestures meant, so I'm not going to go into that here today. But that's the difference between India's stars and Pakistan's cricketers. The very same cricketers respond differently, also in press conferences. The Asia Cup was in fact a very tense, intense tournament where every word, every gesture and action was under scrutiny. A tournament that had heavy political undertones right through. But there was a world of difference between the way the Indian contingent and captain Surya Kumar Yadav handled this all compared to the Pakistani counterparts. Now, while one celebrated without a trophy and did all they could to make do, given the bizarre situation that was playing out in front of them, the other threw the runners-up check they received in disgust afterwards. That's what separates these two sides here. The way you handle any pressure, any ups and downs that comes across your way on the field of play is how you're most likely to handle all of that outside of it too. The sport not only tests your skills and talent on the field, but also your temperament and ability to withstand the pressures that come with playing international sport. And it's simple really. How conducive, positive, forgiving and encouraging your environment is directly proportionate to how strong and mentally astute your players will turn out to be. Success births success. Goodwill generates more goodwill. The system breeds the athletes. And that's what Pakistan will have to wake up to sooner than later. The chess world is in mourning. 29-year-old American Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky has died unexpectedly. His death has shaken the global chess community to its core because this isn't just about losing a talented player. It's about losing someone who many believed was pushed to the edge. And at the center of this controversy that's brewing now is former world champion Vladimir Kramnik, a legend of the game, now accused of something unthinkable, of having driven a fellow grandmaster into darkness. Our next report takes you through a story that's shaken the sport's very conscience.
American Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky's death sent shockwaves across the chess world. Just 29 years of age, he was gone. No warning, no known illness, just passed away unexpectedly. For fans and players alike, it felt personal. Chess icons across the globe, from Magnus Carlsen to Hikaru Nakamura, have poured out their grief. But amidst the sadness, there is also anger, and it's all directed towards one man, Vladimir Kramnik. Magnus Carlsen himself led the charge, calling out Kramnik for the way he went after Naroditsky online.
The way he was going after Naroditsky was horrible. Seeing how it affected him as well, which was apparent now.
For months, Kramnik had been accusing players of cheating in online games with no proof, no restraint and no accountability. One of his main targets was Naroditsky.
I don't think I'm good. I don't think I'm thick-skinned enough to say, honestly, that isn't affecting me at all. I've been nice and civil and courteous to this army of troglodyte lowlifes for way too long. I'm really sick of it. I'm not going to tolerate any of the hate any longer.
That was in December, a rare glimpse of the toll it was taking on someone known for his calm, composed nature. And now, months later, he's gone. No official cause of death has been released yet, but Hikaru Nakamura revealed that Naroditsky was not in a good mental space after being targeted, even calling out Kramnik on a live stream.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Kramnik can go f himself. He can go f himself and can go rot in hell.
For millions, Naroditsky wasn't just another player on a board. He was a teacher, a mentor and a voice of the game. A grandmaster at 18, a finalist at the World Blitz Championship, and one of the few who made chess human again with his warmth, humor and humility on stream. Just days before his death, he posted a YouTube video titled, "You Thought I Was Gone?" It was supposed to be a comeback. He smiled, he joked, he played chess, but watching it now, it feels like a man trying to convince himself that he was okay. And the harsh truth, Naroditsky wasn't alone. Kramnik has accused several others too, from Nihal Sarin to Hikaru Nakamura, all without evidence.
He said he was under immense stress due to a lot of accusations from Kramnik. In our last conversation, Naroditsky said he would like to share a few things with me in private. I asked him to feel free to contact me, and now I get this news.
Sarin has gone further, directly blaming Kramnik for Tanya's death. He called out what many have been whispering, the toxicity that's taken over the chess community, where false accusations spread faster than facts, where mental health becomes collateral damage in the name of integrity. But the uncomfortable truth is this: chess has grown faster than ever, but along with the fame came the trolls, the witch hunts and the cancel culture. The burden of defending your honor every single day is something even the strongest minds can't always bear. When a sport built on intellect and discipline starts losing its humanity, maybe we have crossed a line. Daniel Naroditsky deserved better. He deserved support, not suspicion. And if his death does not force the chess world to introspect, then maybe it's not the players who've lost their moves. Maybe it's the game itself that's gone off board. Because the game that builds minds should never be the one that breaks them.
Back in 2016, FIFA President Sepp Blatter called India a sleeping giant of football. But here we are, it's 2025, and the football world seems to be treating India like a sleeping audience. First, it was Lionel Messi's reported Kerala snub. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo has pulled out of Al Nassr's AFC Champions League 2 clash against FC Goa, two of the greatest footballers ever, both skipping India, at least one part of it in case of one, in just a matter of weeks. Do global football icons really value their Indian fans? That has to be the question here, because sure, Messi will still show up for the GOAT tour, the rest of it that is set to take place later this year. But the Kerala friendly between Argentina and Australia, which is supposed to be the real dream, a rare once-in-a-generation moment, now hangs by the balance. After 14 long years, for Indian fans to see Messi play live, it was going to be magical. Then, of course, came the heartbreak. The next one, Al Nassr confirmed Cristiano Ronaldo won't be travelling to Goa. It wasn't just another fixture, it was an emotional investment. Fans had, of course, booked flights, saved tickets, planned weekends ahead just to see their hero in person. And then, of course, silence, no official explanation, just another dream cancelled. Reports say FC Goa repeatedly urged Al Nassr to bring Ronaldo, but the request was rejected, possibly because of a contract clause, one that allows Ronaldo to choose which matches he plays outside of Saudi Arabia, and he chose not to play in India. Now, this isn't new. In 2023, Neymar missed Al Hilal's match against FC Mumbai. Ronaldinho skipped the Goa leg of Premier Futsal in 2016. Every single time, Indian fans get all hyped up, only to be let down. So let's ask frankly, are global football superstars and organizers taking Indian fans for granted? Yes, India isn't a football powerhouse. Not yet anyway. Our national team is still fighting for global recognition. But if there's one thing that makes India special, it's the sense of loyalty. The Messi versus Ronaldo rivalry lives here just as passionately as it does everywhere else in the world. And in the world's most populous country, that means millions of followers. And even the two superstars know that. Every jersey drop, every highlight reel, every post, it's Indian fans driving views, engagement and revenue. And yet, they are the ones constantly being left disappointed. But the blame doesn't lie only with the stars here. Many Indian event promoters rush to announce these mega fixtures before even securing proper contracts, security clearances or logistical approvals. They sell the hype way before reality dawns. That's exactly what happened with Messi's Kerala match, at least purportedly. For months, Kerala authorities pushed the match will go ahead. The organizers are still saying so at this point, but reports suggest the Argentine authorities were unhappy with the infrastructure on offer and the security arrangements that were set to take place. So, yes, fans deserve answers, but there's also a deeper problem here. The way we plan, market and manage big-ticket football events in India. It's time for a reality check here for both sides. India needs to professionalize its event planning and deliver world-class standards, and global superstars, well, they need to stop treating Indian commitments like charity appearances, because when Messi or Ronaldo skip India, it's not just tickets that go waste, it's the hope of millions, the hope of a country that's still waiting to wake up as the footballing giant the world once promised it could be.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.